Hi everyone, welcome to another MakerDAO Collateral call for anything that has to do with the DAI supply in this case, sometimes demand, but mostly supply. Today I'm joined by B.Protocol, so Yaron and Eitan are going to be covering a little bit more what they've been covering on other calls and in the forum. And for those that want to stay a little bit after this call, we have Nas from yfield.network that's going to explain his own project later. So yeah, without further ado, Yaron, if you want to.
Yeah. So thank you for having me. And yeah, this call is okay. So technically, it's collateral onboarding. So this is like the technical term, but the scope is a bit bigger. Here we actually suggest that B.Protocol will be a backstop for a new collateral type. So it's not B.Protocol as a token or some kind of collateral, but we want to backstop standard collateral type. So maybe first quick introduction about myself. So I'm CEO of B.Protocol. Before that, I was CTO of Kyber Network. In my role as CTO, was involved a lot with on-chain liquidity, market making, and trading. Also was involved in Kyber in the Wrapped Bitcoin initiative. Before Kyber, and actually I started my crypto career in a kind of a research project. Smart Pool was a decentralized smart contract. That was the decentralized mining pool, first decentralized mining pool in Ethereum. Started it during my academic research, PhD in computer science. About this call, so I will try to make it brief because I think, I did present most of it in the forum and everything. First of all, I will, shield a bit on B.Protocol on what we are doing now. And now we are actually working with ETH collateral, but in a very different way. So I will share the status on that. Then I will, give kind of a quick but general overview on how DeFi liquidations are currently being done, as opposed to centralized or traditional world liquidations, and how B.Protocol take the advantages of both worlds. And then I will review the actual proposal that we want to make to MakerDAO on the new collateral. So first of all, B.Protocol, the current state. So right now we are on mainnet. We work only on the ETH collateral. We have our own website where we offer alternative interface to users. And then users can either import their MakerDAO vault to us or open a new MakerDAO vault with our interface. We have like a thin layer of smart contract that does some tailoring of so redirect the user from our smart contract to MakerDAO, but eventually all the funds and everything are in a MakerDAO vault. And user that interacts with us implicitly give us a priority in the liquidation process. And in return, you get to share the proceeds of the liquidation. So right now, the jar actually has $20,000 US. So part of them are profits, part of them we seeded the smart contract with some Ether initially. We already have $18 million of deposits, $4 million of debt, where most of it are from people who simply import their vault to us. And now the architecture designed in such a way that user get exactly the same conditions, meaning exactly the same liquidation condition, and also the same fees, etc. Stability fees. So what is actually happening is that user interact with our smart contract, but under the hood, we just redirect him to MakerDAO platform. And then in order to be able to offer exactly the same liquidation conditions, meaning exactly the same collateral factor, So we provide a cushion to his account or to his vault, meaning that if his debt in MakerDAO is say $100, then we repay at certain point, let's say $10 of this debt, and then MakerDAO vault system see it as a smaller debt, and we will not liquidate it when the price changes, because according to MakerDAO system, it is still over collateralized debt, while according to our system, we do not take the cushion into account, it's under collateralized, and then our liquidators will liquidate it. So they will liquidate it without any war from the other MakerDAO keepers, and they will share some of the proceeds, which is currently half of the premium. They will put it in a jar, and then eventually this jar is distributed among all users who participated. And there is a score metric according to their debt over time, etc. This liquidation pool is composed currently from 3 liquidators. 2 already completed the integration. Okay, so some statistics. So we are live for over a month, almost a month and a half. So we have 138 vaults that was either opened or imported from MakerDAO users to us. On the last Thursday of November, we already did a reliquidation as opposed to some test liquidations we previously did. So 70,000 DAI were liquidated. The liquidation was precisely according to the price feed minus the MakerDAO standard liquidation. This is opposed to the auction process you have on MakerDAO, which usually ends up below the price feed. And also this is quite an immediate process, not 6-hour long process. We have three big DeFi traders who committed for integration. 2 of them already live in the integration. 3rd one will join this month. So this is the current status. And what is important to understand here is that the liquidators are incentivized by giving priority, but their commitment here is soft as opposed to what we propose now. So they get a big premium. So, they have big incentive to liquidate, and this premium is considered quite big for traders. They have very big trading system and market making system in DeFi. So they have a lot of liquidity, which is already on chain. And then when we just offer them, okay, you can take this with a discount, they don't need to build a system for hedging and bringing capital because they already have it. But that said, they are not really, or they were not, actually 2 out of the 3 never participated in liquidations prior to B.Protocol, from the reason that they didn't want to compete with the rest of the world, which is mostly about gas optimizations, front-running systems, etc. So this is what we have now. What we propose is to have even something more committed. But first, let me give you some background on liquidations in the real world and then in DeFi. So in the real world, if you're BitMEX or even on bigger scale on the big real world exchange, you have a backstop, which is basically committed liquidators, which in the real world they are called algo traders, which are committed to liquidate in times of extreme market conditions. So the liquidators put some capital inside the trading system, let's say in BitMEX, and the platform commits that when they need, they will allow them to liquidate with some discount. And actually, okay, so they commit on doing it. So when liquidation is needed, they don't really ask them, okay, is it convenient for you to liquidate? They just dump the position on them. So position here meaning that a user has its debt, has its collateral. So they just hand over the debt and the collateral to the liquidator.
Yaron, I have a question. Maybe the rest got it because they're probably much smarter than me. But I was wondering how B.Protocol interacts with Maker. As is it something like DeFi saver that it as an algorithm it saves or it tries to not get liquidated, or is it more like it goes or it replaces a bit the keepers, what we call in Maker the keepers?
So like for you as an end user, it's not really like a DeFi saver, not at all. It will not save you from liquidation. It will give you exactly the same liquidation conditions as MakerDAO, but for you currently as a user, you will get profit sharing. Okay, so you get exactly the same condition as MakerDAO, but you get to share the liquidation profits of other users. Right, so if other users get liquidated, you get to share it. Our liquidators, right, so their incentive is, they have big trading system, so they just they are there for the discount, and they are willing to settle for a lower discount because they don't have to compete with the rest of the world.
Okay, so instead of if I want DAI, instead of taking it to Maker directly, I would put them in B.Protocol, and then I would share liquidation profits with the traders.
Yes. So you will do it directly from B.Protocol. You will interact with B.Protocol exactly in the same way as you did with Oasis app, for example.
Yes.
But in addition, you get this user rating, which is actually also voting rights later for the upgrade, and you get to share the proceeds. But this is kind of the background, and it's kind of like the background for our proposal. It's not the new proposal. Okay, so this system is already live. We got great feedback and get great reaction from the MakerDAO community, but in essence, this is really a permissionless integration. Beside maybe some price feed whitelisting, right? So there was nothing need to be done for MakerDAO side. And here what we propose is actually to take it to the next step. Okay, do something jointly with MakerDAO, which is more native. So this was just a background and maybe some advertisement to our current product. Okay, so back to Backstop. Okay, Backstop is actually liquidations in the real world. So let's say I'm a Backstop in BitMEX. I put, let's say, $500,000 there. Recall that in BitMEX I can have X 100 leverage, so it will lock up to a position of few hundreds of million even, or maybe $50 million. Then when there's under collateralized position, they simply move to me the debt and the collateral of the under collateralized position. And then it is my responsibility as a backstop to rebalance my position. And if I fail to do it, then I get liquidated myself. And if I do get liquidated, what I lost is the capital or deposits I put beforehand, right? Because if I get liquidated, I lose everything. So this is a traditional finance, and like the key message here is that you have committed traders with some committed quantifiable guarantee that they will liquidate. I mean, no one asked them, basically, just throw at them. On the other hand, the platform gives them some commitment that, okay, you are the liquidators, no one else is. If we move to the centralized finance world, so here, so MakerDAO, first of all, MakerDAO 1.0 liquidation system will be different than 2.0, and both are different from Compound and Cream and Aave, etc. But the gist is relatively the same. So in the core of DeFi liquidations is that you let everyone participate. And by letting everyone participate, typically it means like, just let's throw this order to the market. So in DeFi, you don't have a global order book, but letting everyone participate simply means, okay, let's throw it to the market. The traders from their side, the liquidators, so they're not committed to anything because everyone can do it. If market conditions are too extreme, There's no incentive to participate. I will just stay out. Also, because I'm not committed, I will mostly, do it when I can arbitrage the transaction, the trade or the liquidation immediately with Uniswap. I will spend most of my development efforts in front running other liquidators, in gas optimizations, in deploying Ethereum nodes all over the world, researching the network topology, as opposed to increasing my ability to handle big positions with hedging my positions in all over the world, not only in Uniswap, also in centralized venues, etc. So this is the outcome of no commitment. I do everything that only what is easy. The discount here is shared with the miners, because no matter how you spin it, it's first serve first. I mean, the first one who liquidates takes it all usually, or take portions, right? But there is an advantage to the first movers. So now if I have few dollars profit, I might be willing to share a big part of it with the miners. Now, you as MakerDAO, again, you don't really care if the miners will get it or the liquidators, but as a result, big players are reluctant to participate because although the premium is potentially big, a lot of it go to the miners, not to the liquidators. And finally, okay, because there's no commitment, you don't have to pre-register or anything, so we cannot dump the position on liquidators. They liquidate only if it's convenient. Okay, and then the outcome, right, is something like Black Thursday, where actually, all the incentives were there, but what was missing is an incentive to actually build a system that will use these incentives, right? I mean, if someone gives you free Ether, then surely you will take it. But the problem was that no one constructed a system to handle such scenarios, etc. Or maybe no one beside one person who took everything. So that's that. Okay, so we have the decentralized finance, which is permissionless, transparent, but without any commitment. We have the centralized one, which has commitment, but is lacking transparency. And in lacking transparency, for example, so if we take BitMEX as the crypto gold standard, so, in the real world, it's probably a relatively weak system. No one knows actually how much backstop they have. No one knows how much BitMEX is safe, as opposed, to the real world, bigger venues outside crypto. But still, if you compare BitMEX to DeFi right now, they can handle tens of millions in liquidations, where DeFi is far from it. So if we combine both worlds and we have B.Protocol, so our motto is to let everyone participate. So it is permissionless, but it is permissionless in the sense that anyone can join as liquidator, but liquidators are selected for a certain time period, and when they are selected, there's no competition among them. Because they are selected, they are committed, and in a few minutes I will show the proposal. So in the proposal, there's even a bigger commitment where they lock capital upfront. Okay, in B.Protocol, what we have now is that the discount is shared with the users and not the miners, but actually, in our proposal for native integration, I mean, there are no users, the users are MakerDAO. So over time, they might be willing to have a lower discount, but more importantly here is that they might be willing to secure higher leverage ratios, which is desirable for lending platforms. And finally, okay, so liquidators are committed now, not liquidate only if it's convenient to them. Okay, so now this was all a background, and now let's dive into the actual proposal. So this is an actual proposal, but more of like a call for discussion on the parameters and what MakerDAO really wants, etc. So let me tell you, what us as B.Protocol, but also us as people who are working very close with the on-chain market makers, know their needs, etc. So we want and what we ask in return. So what we give is a system to incentivize committed liquidators and also to bootstrap it with a committed backstop. So backstop is a set of liquidators. Again, and it is important to say here that we don't offer. I mean, we as B.Protocol, me as Yaron, even the current liquidators, right? So what we offer is a protocol and to bootstrap it. Protocol with incentive. We don't know, it's not something that you can say, okay, 2 years from now, we'll have the same liquidators. It's not that B.Protocol will wake up at night to save MakerDAO from liquidations. It's just an alternative liquidation system, which we believe is more robust or at least worth experimenting, which give incentives. And then by bootstrapping it is, so we actually have the opportunity to showcase it and then pave the road, show it's actually profitable or maybe not. But to actually kind of fund this experiment, the development of everything. So this is what we offer. What we ask for MakerDAO is that opposed to what we do now, which is like alternative website, user get to choose whether you want to use us or MakerDAO directly. So we want to have to back a popular liquid collateral type. For the sake of the example, proposed wrapped Bitcoin, but it could be ETH, it could be other good tokens, and we want to have a lot of users in it. And in order to have a lot of users in it, so what we see is the good way to do it is to offer better collateral ratio and the same fees as an existing one. Okay, so WBTCB in this example, we wanted to have better collateral ratio than WBTCA, and we wanted to have the same stability fee that MakerDAO takes on WBTCA. And then the choice for the user, it's no brainer. I mean, he will always prefer this collateral type, of course, until it hits certain ceiling, which will be introduced for security and for the sake of experiments. So we want this collateral type, and of course the built-in priority in liquidations for B.Protocol.
Yeah, well, maybe it's worth mentioning that basically having a lower collateralized ratio is basically helping whatever users were looking for higher leverage for the funds. So this is something that can be offered basically by B.Protocol because we feel comfortable that with the backstop this is actually being enabled basically for the first time in DeFi. In general, to get a 10x on your funds.
And again, so 10x here is maybe like for the sake of example, or it's up to discussion. But yeah, so it's higher leverage, or if you're more in the stability front, then getting only 130 or 120 collateral ratio for WBTCB as opposed to 150%. Even if the user is risk adverse, it's always better for him to use that. So yeah. So it's actually so I mean, it creates a real value for MakerDAO users in that sense, which in turn, expected to increase DAI circulation, etc., etc. Yeah, okay, so again, in the forum, and this is up to discussion, so we proposed WBTC as a collateral with the same fees as WBTCA, which are currently 4%. And here it's important to emphasize the stability fees still go to MakerDAO, not to us. We were, brave, and we want to offer collateral ratio of 110%, which actually allows you X11 or X10 leverage for the user. And to start with some initial cap on the amount of debt. So, like a failure here will have only a limited effect on the MakerDAO system. So we offered 5 million DAI. as the initial ceiling for the debt. If that to happen, so we will propose that liquidators will lock up upfront $500,000, actually probably in DAI. And whenever a new position is thrown at them, they will have to repay from this $500,000 part of the user debt. Every liquidator will have its own vault. And once their vault becomes under collateralized, then it's again up to the MakerDAO keepers to liquidate them. So B.Protocol here is, like a front, like the first layer in the liquidations. Liquidators have a lot on stake in order to make sure the liquidations are successful, but still the ultimate backstop is MakerDAO. Okay, what we ask is, okay, it will require changes in the smart contract, but changes that are specific for this collateral type, the flipper, meaning no change in the other core components, and everything will be limited and contained by the WBTC-B collateral. This change in smart contract will implement the position throwing that will just move the position to our liquidators. We do ask for a 10% liquidation premium. And we do ask, and okay, this was a question raised on the forum. So ideally, if there is a liquidation that is not handled by MakerDAO MakerDAO keepers, then ideally we would ask that there will be no liquidation penalty. If MakerDAO still wants to have a liquidation penalty, either way, even though liquidations that are managed by us do not add any risk, right, to the system, then we would ask that eventually the penalty for the user will not be bigger than WBTC-A, which will still mean that, okay, WBTC-B dominates in every aspect WBTC-A and will be the default go-to collateral for the user, at least until the ceiling is reached. And then depends on the actual collateral ratio. If you go all the way to 10x, then maybe updating the price only once an hour is too infrequent, and we will ask to use the real-time Oracle for that, or maybe updates every few minutes. So this is what we ask. And allegedly, so the proposal is very concrete, but it's the beginning of the discussion. And what we really want to discuss, assuming this is something MakerDAO really wants to move forward with, is that, let's discuss the details later. Let's start with the basic things. Let's see first if MakerDAO really is at all interested in such approach. So for that, it's important to understand that, so there were some discussions about insuring the liquidations with Nexus Mutual. So here we do not offer insurance. There is no mathematical guarantee that if liquidation process fails, then we will compensate MakerDAO in any way. Actually, there's no compensation. Everything we promise is only that they are incentivized liquidators with something on stake. So initially it will be $500,000 incentive for a $5 million market cap. Then as we grow, as we make it bigger, we can further discuss what kind of requirements are needed. If market goes down catastrophically, all the way to zero, again, we are not magicians. So these people, can trade big volumes with 0.5% premium, and for them, 10% is typically fine. So in BitMEX, other places, premiums are much lower, and these guys, the DeFi traders, constantly quote Bitcoin prices for barely 0.5% markup on DeFi platforms such as Kyber, 0x, etc. But still, if the worst would happen, they will not be able to dump it. They will get liquidated themselves. They will lose $500,000, but also MakerDAO system will lose. Okay, so it's not an insurance. So this is what we offer. In terms of MakerDAO, is it really MakerDAO desire or wish to kind of, so it's either outsourcing or maybe experimenting or introducing a new liquidation process. To me, even figuring this out, how we actually can figure it out, whether it's a signal or a poll or whatever. So this is to me like the main question, whether it's something really MakerDAO wants. So the small part is giving up part of liquidation penalty, which is, to my understanding, really not at the core of MakerDAO, of MKR token model, but it's something, should be considered. Moreover, it should be considered that eventually, so we will bootstrap everything, but eventually conditions, capital requirements, liquidation premiums should be attractive to liquidators. So even though we might subsidize everything initially, for the long run, liquidators and the backstop are there to make money. If there's no real opportunity for them to make money because capital requirements are too high, etc., so, this collateral type will have to be shut down, right, for the long run. Yeah, okay. Another indication is, okay, what kind of collateral you guys want? We are fine with ETH, WBTC, other stable coins. If there are liquidations there, currently USDC is not available for liquidations. Also for the collateral factor, so we offered something very aggressive because we see it as a added value for the user, or like a selling point to MakerDAO. Basically, we believe that even without it, we are like we could help make MakerDAO more stable, and maybe like the big positions, etc., should be first tried out in platforms like Aave or Cream Finance or whatever. So it's also up to you if you want. I mean, if you see like the big contribution by supporting better leverage, or simply by supporting or by enabling higher stability. And finally, we are fine with starting with $5 million ceiling, but for the long run, we would like to set a process on how to increase it. It seems that just to give an example, at this point, our backstop has $4 million of debt that it backstop without any capital lock on its side, right? So for the long run, staying in this $5 million value is not very attractive. So here again, the intention is to start small, obviously test the system, but to scale it to bigger values during the long run. So yeah, this is basically what we want to discuss, and this is the end of my presentation.
Nice.
Hey, Aaron, hypothetically, if the maker community does not want to do 110% liquidation ratio, and they do something more like 125, just guessing, and also a debt ceiling of 2.5 million, and again, I'm just speculating, how would that affect your protocol and the ability to implement this?
Yeah, so from implementation side, it's simply a matter of changing parameters. That's not the issue. The issue is, that eventually this should be profitable or attractive to liquidators. So as an initial experiment, everything is done in good faith, etc. We can decide, yeah, I mean, probably we will be up for lower ceiling. Actually increasing the collateral value factor is actually better for us even. It makes us safer as well. So that's up to the MakerDAO decision, like if they want to have this, I don't know if buzzword or selling point of X10, but if MakerDAO community decide, so okay, maybe to summarize, 125 collateral value, it's definitely not an issue for us. Lower ceiling, again, to start with, could be okay, as long as, like there's a clear roadmap on, what will be the events that will allow increase in it, etc.
I would add that, because there is, a certain amount of development needed, to implement such a solution, we do want to get some kind of a signal from the MakerDAO community, from the DAO, to actually, having this as, as a test bed with a good intention, if everything goes right, and, with the right direction, to actually, scale it. As Yaron mentioned. So yeah, we don't want to do that, just for and starting with too low ceiling might be, just not enough to actually test it really.
Okay, yeah, and you're circling back to implementations. I believe there will be some adjustments that needs to be done to the current code. Is that right?
Yeah, so adjustment will be in the form of changing the flipper, meaning that changes will not affect the other collateral types. But yeah, that's right. I mean, there will be a change required in the liquidation process, but again, it will be isolated to this collateral type.
Got it. And I mean, yesterday I know you were on the call for the crop join, and one of the things that Lev said that we should ask is about the liquidations 2.0.
Yeah. Okay. So on the face of it, this proposal is kind of agnostic to the liquidation system. So basically, where liquidations, where the KeeperDAO and MakerDAO liquidation kicks in, is if our liquidators become insolvent, and then your keepers get to liquidate them, and then you can choose, to liquidate them the way you want. And I imagine that if liquidation 2.0 is live, they will be liquidated with 2.0. I think maybe what Lev meant on higher level is that whether this system or this, eventually we claim this is an improvement to the current situation, whether it is still needed even in the presence of liquidation 2.0. So our position is definitely, our position also for, me as a guy who wrote some bots for the liquidation 1.0. So that was terrible for liquidators, and 2.0 is definitely better. But still, it does not solve the inherent DeFi problem of, okay, if you let anyone liquidate, then everyone will just liquidate what is easy for them. You don't get real stability this way. In the long run, you will not be able to offer high leverage because, okay, it could work nicely if you give 50% over collateralized, but if you want only 5% in the future over collateral, even 10%, then for, let's say if you want 5%, then even $1 million liquidation might be hard to arbitrage these days on Uniswap. Definitely not $5 million, $10 million. So $10 million might still be okay if you offer 10% or 50% over collateral, but surely, again, maybe not Maker, but like as a DeFi ecosystem that will aim to offer higher leverage and compete in the centralized venues, the vision should be towards higher leverage. So in that sense, yeah, okay, so liquidation 2.0 is an improvement, in my opinion. Still, it doesn't make the situation better than Compound, Aave, and Cream in that sense, and we believe that these systems also benefit from our approach. So I don't see it as it make our proposal redundant in that sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think that even if liquidations 2.0 is picture perfect, you're still going to need people like B.Protocol. So I totally agree. Yeah, thank you.
If I can add something, might be a tad too early for these kind of proposals. Because the liquidations 2.0 has been it's been going on for months, and asking them to change anything now is going to be a hard sell. So, you know, possibly wait until liquidations 2.0 has been worked out and implemented, and maybe try a softer approach, going to the business development team, not directly to the community, to the business development team, and try to have a kind of a minimal proposal for us.
Yeah, okay, if I got the question correctly. So first of all, in terms of liquidation 2.0, so it does not really conflict. It does not conflict with the development efforts there. And again, as I said, this is so actually, you know, we will integrate with whatever liquidation system that will be ready. And the changes in the flipper contract, which will simply, you know, will be isolated to WBTCB and for this experiment. So, you know, clearly we'll get in touch, already in touch with the technical team and see, you know, regarding exact timelines. But on the face of it, it doesn't seem to be related. I mean, we can even go live with the first, you know, with the 1.0 and then move to 2.0 seamlessly. As for the right approach, whether it should go via the foundation, so actually here I'm interested in your feedback. We got a bit of a different feedback from the foundation that these kinds of things should mainly go through the DAO, also for some maybe legal reasons and others. But here, you know, definitely, you know, this is like a call for discussion, call for to see how to move it forward.
One of the feedbacks or maybe guidelines that we would be very happy to understand from the community is basically, you know, how to take these kind of proposals, you know, forward with the DAO. Like what would be the right path, you know, within the bureaucracy kind of, you know, of the DAO, how to move that forward. What kind of steps are needed. So
yeah, echoing a bit what Planet X was saying, the domain teams are, well, possibly overworked, but there's an important backlog in general. So we were actually thinking about maintaining the MIPS and every other development in a request for comments phase for a little bit longer. But what you're raising, Aaron, is very, very valid. These are questions that could be potentially asked to the community.
Maybe also, you know, like to give some context and everything. I mean, this will not happen next week, right? I mean, this is a process, and yeah, I mean, so in that sense, you know, it will eventually have to wait. I mean, very likely liquidation 2.0 will be live before all the details here are sorted, etc. Right? I mean, also we will take most of the development work, of course, and the audits. In terms of the actual, you know, time or, you know, week or months or whatever to going live. So yeah, I mean, this is still a long time ahead. I mean, currently we mostly want to kick off the discussion here to see, you know, even because this will take weeks, maybe even months from our side, right? So it's mainly in discussion level to see if from our side, you know, we should start with MakerDAO or with other platforms in this kind of integration.
Nice. Any other questions for the B.Protocol team?
I just want to say thank you for addressing kind of everything I posted up on the forum. That was really great and definitely has me on board. Thank you.
Totally.
Yeah, thank you for the question, and yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, so yeah, for those that want to stay a little bit longer, Nas, the floor is yours. So we get to know more a little bit about we feel. I don't know, how you feel.
Profile. Okay. Hi everyone. I'll just share my screen. I need. I think B.Protocol need to stop sharing.
So I paused it. How do I? 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Stop. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here. I'm Nazareno, co-founder of WField Labs, an open source R&D and deployment laboratory. Our mission is bridging Filecoin to Ethereum to bootstrap the adoption and development of Filecoin within Ethereum and DeFi ecosystem, unleashing the next generation of storage and financial application. We are a fully distributed company. I'm currently based in London and Christian is based in Barcelona. We are building Wrap Filecoin, the first Filecoin Wrap token on Ethereum. The problem we are addressing is bridging Filecoin and Ethereum. The challenge here is to provide a service that is as decentralized as possible, maintaining the peg stability of the token one-to-one with Filecoin value, and allow Filecoin holders to access liquidity or exchange Filecoin on Ethereum via DeFi services. So we propose WField, an ERC20 wrapper over Filecoin backed by Filecoin deposits on a custodian to be used by Filecoin holders, storage clients, or storage miners on Ethereum lending platform like MakerDAO as collateral to get DAI or Aave compound to get liquidity that can be used to earn interest or provided to liquidity pools like Uniswap, Curve, and so on. The technology we are using include an ERC20 token implemented using OpenZeppelin ERC20 library. Sorry. ERC20 library that's controlled by a factory contract that allow merchants to add mint burn requests that need to be confirmed by custodians to keep the token peg stable with Filecoin. Both contracts are managed, and here we can probably see a better picture of the architecture. Both contracts are managed by WField DAO, a Gnosis safe multi-sig contract that allow members, in the case of MakerDAO, could be a community representative of the DAO to approve upgrades of the factory contract, as well as add, remove merchants and custodians, providing trust and transparency for the community. We recently have migrated the backend to OpenZeppelin Defender for secure operations to interact with the contract, providing an extra layer of security that will allow merchants and custodians to easily interact with the factory contract via ad hoc APIs, and also allow the DAO for decentralized security operation when upgrading the factory contract or add, remove merchants, custodians via the Defender dashboard. Future developments could include governor contracts that will replace the WField DAO with a governance contract, and also with allowing with a governance token the community to participate and vote for proposal with, of course, incentives. And to onboard DAO members, the onboarding of DAO members and merchant custodian will be totally transparent and will be done on Twitter, showing the transaction of the Gnosis Safe contract that will also be setting the confirmation threshold accordingly, as well as for merchant custodians when they are added to the factory by the the DAO. The project, Wrap Filecoin, the project was born during AKFS by ETH Global on an idea proposed by Juan, where we released the first prototype on Ethereum Koban, July 26. After that, the project was being selected for Apollo by Gitcoin, where it has been awarded for best protocol breach by Textile, and also joined the Filecoin space race via Textile Powergate. And after that, we joined ETH Online as well, where we celebrated the Filecoin liftoff, the mainnet launch. Currently, WFIL Lab is one of the companies in the Filecoin Launchpad Accelerator powered by Tachyon Consensus. We recently launched last week the token on mainnet, the 3rd of December, as the first Lego piece. And we are currently completing the audit with Quantstamp of the factory contract to be launched very soon on mainnet. Next steps will include onboarding merchants and custodian, and we are currently formalizing few partnerships. And also we are working with Textile team to bring Ethereum users the possibility to use WFIL to buy storage directly on Filecoin and use it to build apps on Ethereum. And also we are defining the roadmap for next year that will include research and development and implementation of non-custodial version by leveraging on Filecoin smart contracts. In phase Z, finally, we will explore opportunities for storage and DeFi applications on top of Filecoin to unleash the next generation of storage and financial application. The team is formed by me, co-founder, CEO, and smart contract engineer, and Christian da Silva, co-founder, CTO, and blockchain engineer. We met at Consensus Academy during the blockchain developer bootcamp and act together during AKFS at ETH Global Hackathon, where the project was born. We share a common passion for DeFi, and we've been following emerging technologies in the space during recent years. And Filecoin was one of the projects that most excited us, as it exploits the potential of IPFS, filling a gap in the space by adding a new layer of complexity. Thank you, and you can follow us on Twitter at BradField, or check our website and stay tuned for updates at wfield.network. And also we recently created a Gitcoin grant for round 8. Thanks.
Nice, thank you, Nas. Does anyone have any questions for Nas?
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Nas, for that presentation. So I guess I can start by saying that you guys are at the same company as Wrapped, which is I believe by TokenSoft Anchorage and somebody else. But right, is that correct?
No, we are WFIL Labs, a company currently on Filecoin Launchpad Accelerator, Tachyon from Consensus.
Okay, got it. So you guys are going to use the same symbol on this, because I think Wrap is using WFIL. I guess you're going to use the same symbol, or how are people going to determine which one is which?
Sure. Yeah, we are currently checking that. But as I mentioned on the application, we would like to open a discussion on the differences on the of the solutions, especially focusing on the architecture and security of the two ERC20, and allowing the community to open the discussion, and yeah, for that, as I said, we are currently checking, so we can give more information soon on the
cool. And circling back to, you mentioned something about a DAO. I didn't quite understand it. So if you could give me like the simple
Sure.
explanation, the DAO
Sure.
and what's the vision there?
Sure. Both contracts, the factory and the ERC20, are controlled by a multisig. So we use the Gnosis Safe contract, where currently we are on me and Christian, the CTO, and we will onboard DAO members soon. And this will allow to decentralize as much as possible WFIL without giving access to an external own account and give like a transparent transparency to the community for each, like for upgrades. Like if we need to upgrade the factory contract, you will see that on Ethereum, as well as if a merchant or a custodian is added to the factory, you will be able to see that. And these need to go through a threshold of confirmations of the DAO members. So it's not just me or Christian that can decide if to upgrade the factory or to add merchants arbitrarily, but will be more founding member are there, more decentralized will be the token. And as a base, as the current architecture will allow to like upgrade the system, and instead of this multi-sig, could allow another contract, a governor, to extend the governance to a broader community via governance token that will directly get access to adding a new minter, so upgrading the factory or adding or removing merchants or custodians via proposal.
Got it. And I think community member Planet X, who was having issues with his microphone, is asking if you have any insurance of your WFIL, WFIL.
Sure. So we currently are onboarding merchants. So each merchant will have its own custodian, and the custodian will provide insurance for the Filecoin deposited. And as well as we will launch our own merchant service. And we are currently formalized partnership with custodians as well that will provide insurance for the Filecoin deposits.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks.
Also, as he asked on the chat, well, he said that formal verification of the wrapping is going to be important. So I guess I don't know if you want to comment on any of it.
Yeah, we discussed with the QuantStep to make a proposal for Filecoin on a formal verification specifically for stablecoin. And we will probably open a discussion later on publicly on that. We currently discussing with QuantStep. Actually, it was at the beginning of the audit. We actually had this conversation because it's very important, and they are recently added a stablecoin formal verification audit specifically for this kind of applications. So we are really interested, and we will start a discussion with the Filecoin Foundation soon on that.
Nice. And regarding the token name, I don't know if maybe Frank, you know about this, but how is this solved usually in the wild? Like if two projects take the same ticker name, how? Because I don't think that discussion belongs in the maker forum for some reason, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Is it a race to integrations, or?
You mean as far as?
I don't know if.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Nas.
I don't know if it poses issue to the integration actually, because you can integrate different collateral, but yeah, as I said, we can we are checking on that, and we can open a discussion. Currently, we can open a discussion on the differences of the two solutions. I think that would be I would invite the community to do that and wait for a response on the ticker side. Yeah.
You want to say something, Frank, or add something to that?
No, I thought you were asking me what would happen if they both end up with the same ticker or the same token symbol, WFIL. I wouldn't know. Maybe Greg might know. I think he's on the call. Put him on the spot.
What's the question?
What would happen if both protocols ended up with the same symbol, WFIL?
From a maker perspective or just in general?
Just in general.
It would probably be exchange by exchange. So each exchange will decide what they really want to call it. And then honestly, probably none of them will call it WFIL if there's multiple contenders for that. So yeah, it's honestly, I don't think it's that important. Like the venues and even MakerDAO will find a way to differentiate between the different products.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Greg. Does anyone have any other question for Naz? Right, so we can call it a day or an evening regarding which part you are. Thanks everyone for coming. Thank you, Yaron and Nathan from B.Protocol. Thanks, Naz, from WField Network. It was very nice having you guys, and yeah, let's keep the discussions going on in the forum. Tomorrow we'll have the Melon Protocol, so Monedis is going to present Melon Protocol. So if you guys want to join me, the agenda is in the forum as always. Have a nice one.
Thanks, everyone.